Hello, thank you for watching my channel today. My name is Sarah and my channel is called Your True Shelf, and today I am filming like a little catch-up video because I haven't done one for quite a while, since before I went on holiday to Cornwall. And I told you a bit about I did tell you what I was reading in my Cornwall vlog, but I've read some really big books lately and it just feels like I've made way slower progress than normal, but I don't really mind because, like I said before, I've hit my target like a few months ago for the year, and so I just thought I'd tackle some of the books which are the bigger books that I normally tend to sort of steer away from. So when I was on holiday I read The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, which I've already discussed. That one was just under 500 pages, and it was quite a slow read because you had to really sort of concentrate on the plot because it's fairly complex. And then I read Well Read Black Girl on holiday, and then since I've been back I have read 2 books. Well, I've dipped in and out a bit, so I'll tell you what I've done so far. So I've read the this beautiful, I've just got the dust jacket here because the book's actually in my bedroom, but I've read the November section of The Wild Remedy. So as I've previously discussed with this is a book by Emma Mitchell, who suffers from depression, and she uses nature as like part of her help for feeling better from the depression, and she does beautiful photography and drawings as she describes month by month what happens in the landscape around her. So I'm reading it contemporaneously, so I've just finished November's, and that was beautiful. And it's also made me like, so we went last weekend, we went for a long walk in some woods, and it's made me kind of really pay more attention to what I can see. Like, can I see any berries? Can I see, like, what colours can I see? Is there any sort of last flowers out? Those kind of things, which is really nice. It's made me do that as well. I've also kept going with Testament of Youth by Vera Brittain. So, as I've previously said, this is her memoir of being a nurse in the First World War, and I've only got that much left now. So this is a real massive book. It's 650 pages. I've been reading it since the summer because it's in 3 parts, and I read the parts with a little gap in between just because the sadness was pretty intense for the first 2 books. And the section I'm on now, the war is over. She has done her degree at Oxford, and she is now sort of trying to find her way in the world as a writer. So it's more about like how she's going about that, but also the sort of bias and discrimination that she faces as a woman in that time. You know, women, she had to fight really hard to get her degree, and women are very much kind of belittled still and believe that they can't really do it, even though, you know, she performed the most amazing work as a nurse in the First World War. Like the endurance that she had was incredible. So I'm really enjoying this, and this is what I'm going to finish next because I finished a book last night which I'll talk about soon, but I want to just finish this one now, so that because I don't usually sort of dip in and out of books, so I just want to get that one finished and have like less books on the go at once. Then I finished this one. So This Must Be the Place by Maggie O'Farrell. This is a buddy read that I did with Jo Smith, and I only read so one of my reading goals for the year was to read Maggie O'Farrell, and I first read I Am, which is non-fiction, and I absolutely loved it. And this is the first fiction that I've read from her. It was really nice to do as a buddy read with Jo as well. This is also quite a big book, so it's really annoying because I have a target of reading a book over 500 pages for the Reading Women Challenge, and this is 493, and The Starless Sea was 498. I was like, oh, so I was so close. So this one is how do I explain? So it's centered around a couple, a man called Daniel, and who is American, and a woman called Claudette, who is English. And Claudette was a she was a student, and she got a job in London working for I think it was the Film Society, kind of doing office work, but she was really good at her job, and she was asked to organise like a dinner for some directors and writers, and one of them sort of took a fancy to her and said, let's go for a drink. And he basically turned her into a film star, and she became incredibly successful. And that was never her dream, and she really hated the fame and the attention and the fact that people were kind of constantly sort of doing her hair and doing her makeup and dressing her, and like people didn't have normal conversations with her, and she felt very trapped and decided to sort of run away to this remote place in Ireland where it's very much off the beaten track. And that's how she meets Daniel, who has also had his fair share of past trauma. And the book follows their relationship, and it also follows the characters around them, so their siblings, their children, their parents, and they all get turns in different chapters, and the timeline kind of jumps back and forth as well. So you might go from like the 1980s to 2012 to back to the 80s again to 2000. So it kind of jumps like that. So Joe and I had to kind of flick back a few times and sort of get our bearings as to what has happened so far when you've jumped around in time, but it wasn't confusing. The thing I love about her writing is that sometimes there was a secondary character who would have a really short chapter which was nothing really to do with the story, but it was almost like a short story within that, because even in those sort of 5 to 10 pages she would create this whole character and their life just in such a short time before we go back to the main story, and it would tie in some way, but you got these kind of little mini stories within the big story. And her sense of place and her sense of I find like with her writing it's almost like you're watching a film. Like certain bits you can see them so visually without her doing lots of descriptions. You can just really get a sense of the scene, and I think she's a fantastic writer. So I give this one 4.5 stars. There were a couple of chapters which I wasn't as fond of, so I sort of knocked off a little bit of a rating for that. But I definitely want to read more Maggie O'Farrell. I've got The Vanishing Act of Esme Lennox still to read by her, so I'll read that one, and then I'll be getting some more of her books because I think she's fantastic. So I've got Hamlet as well, actually. I've got that too. So that was that one. And then the other one that I finished was my audiobook, which took me about 6 weeks. I'm not sure why. I think it's because I have a really short commute to work now, and so I don't have loads of time to listen to audio, because in previous times I would have listened while I was doing other things, but now I tend to have BookTube on when I'm doing other things. So like while I'm getting ready in the mornings or while I'm cleaning and that kind of stuff, I tend to have BookTube on rather than audiobooks. But anyhow, I'm waffling. So the book that I finished was The Antidote for Everything by Kimmery Martin, and this was really, really good. So first of all, on Audible, the narrator is brilliant. I'd really recommend listening to this. So this is about Georgia Brown, who is a urology surgeon in the States, and I loved Georgia. So she's a very kind of quirky, very intelligent, really fun, but kind of does things her own way, women. And her best friend Jonah Sakada, so he is a GP in the States, and he's gay, and he's really like fun and funny and so likable. And there's these rumours start that Jonah has done something inappropriate, or he's not treating his patients properly, and some patients are being asked to leave his care. And then we find out that basically the clinic, which is a privately owned clinic owned by a mega church in the States, has decided that it's immoral to treat queer and trans patients, and actually they want them to leave the clinic, and they're giving them notice they have to leave. And also because Jonah's queer, then he's immoral too, and they're trying to find a way to get him out of the clinic. And so that's the sort of the premise of the book, and it gets very so the terrible thing is this is actually commonplace and legal in the States. So they try and fight this decision, and they quickly realise there's nothing they can do to fight it, because it's not. I think they said in 38 states it's not illegal to discriminate on the basis of gender or sexuality, and I just find that very shocking. It's 2020, and the fact that that's written in law really kind of scares me, and the fact that churches are owning hospital clinics and deciding, who can be treated based on their morality. I mean, that's very odd. So very different to the NHS, thankfully. So anyhow, so they decide they have to fight this a different way, and it all gets very serious in terms of like consequences, deceptions. There's some triggers for sexual assault in this book, and self-harm, and as the book goes on, it ramps up and up in pace, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. I liked the fact that a doctor has written it, because there was some clinical stuff in there as well. Like, it wouldn't put you off if you were not a clinical person, but there was enough like medicine in there to interest me as well. And yeah, I just thought it was a fantastic book. I'd really recommend it. I gave it 4.5 stars, because there was a few things that were tied up a bit too neatly for me, which I knocked a bit off for. And she has also got another book, I think it's called Queen of Hearts, something like that, which I'd really like to read as well. And that's also about doctors, so again, obviously a point of interest for me. So that was really good. I haven't chosen my next Audible yet. I've still got a credit to use. So that is what I've read. I'll just go through also what I have obtained. So I think my husband's on the phone, if you can hear chatter. So I've got, these are all gifts actually. So I've been very good and haven't bought anything. So the first one that I got was from my lovely friend Sal for my birthday. And she got me Monty Don My Garden World, which is a gorgeous hardback edition. And so this is this is a year by year book, kind of like the Emma Mitchell book, season by season in his garden, and it starts in January, so I'm going to read it contemporaneously as well. And it's got some photos in, and just some really nice photos as well. So I think this is going to help teach me stuff as well as be enjoyable, because I got into Gardener's World like in lockdown, and I did some work in my garden as well, and hopefully, as in springtime we'll be doing some more work on the garden. And so this is a really lovely gift for that reason as well. 2 books from my friend Rachel. So one of them was another of these little tiny Penguin modern classics again. This is by Dorothy Parker, who I haven't read anything about, and it's called The Custard Heart. And it's tales of women on the edge, wisecracking and heartbreaking, by the legendary wit Dorothy Parker, who shows the darkness beneath the surface of the jazz age. So that's cool. And the other one that Rachel got me, I'm really excited by. So it's a Helen Dunmore book. I'm going to have to put Helen Dunmore as one of my authors to read in 2021, because I now have 4 Helen Dunmore books and haven't read any of them. This one sounds incredible. So this is Zennor in Darkness. This is set in the First World War, which I like, that time period, in Cornwall. And again, love Cornwall. And so it says that it's about D.H. Lawrence. Now, I read my first D.H. Lawrence last year with Joe, and really enjoyed it. So D.H. Lawrence comes into the turmoil of Cornwall with his German wife, Frida, hoping to escape the war fever that grips London. So I guess in itself that's very tricky, having a German wife in the First World War. And they befriend Claire Coyne, a young artist struggling to console her beloved cousin John William, who is on leave from the trenches and suffering from shell shock. The dark tide of gossip and innuendo means that Zennor is neither a place of recovery nor escape. That sounds amazing. I really excited to read this one. And then Charlie Brick very kindly sent me a book which I need for my Reading Women's Challenge, which is a book translated from an Asian language, and she kindly sent me Convenience Store Women by Sayaka Murata. I heard so many good things about this on BookTube in the last year, and I must be one of the last people to read it. It's about a woman who is working in a convenience store, loves her job, is really happy with it, and doesn't understand why everyone keeps telling her like that she needs to sort of progress and move on. She's just happy with her life. And I'm really excited to read that. So that will be read quite soon, because I need, like I say, to read it before the end of December. And the last book that I hauled was from my lovely friend Hannah, another present for my birthday. And this is one, I will read the synopsis because I think it's going to be really hard to describe. So it's called Things That Are by Amy Leach, with the subtitle Encounters with Planets, Stars and Animals. And it's just a beautiful cover, as you can probably see there. So I think I'm just going to read the synopsis because it's going to do a better job of explaining. So this is a book about the universe, which begins with swimming salmon and ends with the starry sky. From the tiniest earth dwellers to far-flung celestial bodies, considering everything from the similarity of gods to donkeys, to exploding stars and exploding sea cucumbers, Amy Leach rekindles our communion with the world. This stunning debut will leave you with a deeper understanding of the universe and a greater sense of the magic that surrounds us. So I think it says 26 pieces about different things, and it's non-fiction, but I think it, looking, just sort of having a flick through, it looks like it references some kind of legends and different things like that as well. So I'm really excited because it sounds a really unique book. So I'm really excited to read that as well. So thank you to all my lovely friends who sent me presents. So I think that's it in terms of my, oh no, one more. I bought a book on my Kindle as well. I bought Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi on my Kindle. I've heard really good things. It's on the Booker shortlist. We're going to find out in 2 days as I record this who's the winner of the Booker this year. And this will be my 4th shortlist book. This is about a woman who, from what I remember, she's like has a very unusual childhood with her mum. She gets taken to an ashram in India and different places, and I think she has quite a sort of nomadic childhood, and she isn't very close with her mum, but then her mum develops dementia and she has to sort of look after her mum even though they don't have a very close relationship. I think it's something along those lines. So that's another one that I'm looking forward to reading, and I know that's a real favourite amongst people who've read the shortlist as well. So that's all the books that I have bought and read in the last couple of weeks. Let me know what you've been up to, what you've been reading, what you've enjoyed, if they've got any audio recommendations, because I have a credit to use. And I will speak to you all soon. Bye!